Hi, my beautiful people, my healing fam. Gina Chimesi here, your favorite psych nurse practitioner, coming to you again today with another video highlighting toxic relationship, high conflict relationship. Should I go? Should I stay? Everything in between, and how to heal and elevate after such relationships. If you choose to run, if you're staying well. In today's video, we're gonna highlight signs of being in a relationship that is considered being in struggle love.
Recently divorced. I'm dating someone that I really am serious about.
Did you meet them?
I met her 20 years ago, actually. Fell in love, was married, couldn't do anything, and then got divorced, and 20 years later called her up.
Why did you marry your wife then?
I was already married to her.
You fell in love during your marriage.
Oh, yeah. 10 years in.
And you stayed to be committed to your wife.
So I stayed with my wife and my kids until they were grown.
I didn't love my wife when we got married. I loved the idea of a wife, and it's embarrassing to admit that. I married her for what she could bring to me, how she could improve my life.
I don't love my wife no more. Whatever feelings I had inside for her, they're dead, and they died a long time ago.
Back in the days, like in the early, back in the great grandmother's time, grandparents' time, really love was not a consideration for marriage. It was more of an agreement where, the woman is more of a property. This is why in some of our relationship as an African, as a Ghanaian woman, some women might experience their men telling them things such as you're my property, especially if it's a abusive relationship. Nobody should really be saying that. But some men in my culture think that because they paid the dowry price, now all of a sudden they own you. So you're there to labor for them. You're a maid, you're a mule, you're a chef, and then you bear children, you bear their legacy, but they're not really there to be an equal partner to you. You're also working 2025, you're working, bringing money to the home, paying a good number of the bills, and then doing all the heavy lifting of taking care of the kids. So how are you doing today? Have you ever experienced struggle love? Do you know anyone who's experiencing or have experienced struggle love? Do you have a sibling, a sister, a brother? How does it look like? So I jump on Google and did a quick Google search, and it says struggle love refers to a relationship where one partner constantly puts in significant, those are the words, one partner, significantly more effort than the other, often dealing with their partner's personal issues and lack of stability, creating a dynamic that is imbalanced or unbalanced and can be considered unhealthy and toxic. This is why I talk about toxic relationships on my channel. What are some of the signs to recognize? Because some of this stuff really should be taught in high school. You know how many high school relationships are toxic as hell? A lot of these kids need to learn this thing, so they are getting into college, getting into long-term committed relationship. They know when to see, okay, first, second sign, I'm out. Preserve, self-preservation, preserving yourself and your children, thinking you're staying for the kids. Sometimes some of this toxic relationship is not the best because they are mimicking. It's not what you say, but it's what you do, your actions. How's mom treating dad? How's dad treating mom? They are looking. You can tell them till the cows come home, but is the home peaceful? Are you guys peaceful? Are you able to communicate? Are you able to resolve conflicts? So critical. It's so important for kids to see disagreements, which is great, but how do you repair? When you struggle love, that repair is not there. So back in those days, women are considered property because you're there to bear children, to produce more children. So the labor in the farms and everything is taken care of by that family. So the wealth of that family is multiplied because there are multiple children who are doing the labor in the farm. The woman is taking care of the home, all this stuff. Back in the days, women were not expected to really go out there and work and bring in the bacon. The man does all of that. So if a man has a woman and has children and has accumulation of wealth because of the labor, they have more status. But this has evolved as we go through the years. But men's mentality, a lot of men in the manosphere, the red pillars, the misogynistic men, their minds have not evolved as to what their roles are and women's roles are. They think going to work and providing money, but in this type of, temperature where everything is so expensive, you need both people in the marriage to go out and work and bring in the money. But if you're doing that as a woman and at the same time doing all the domestic labor, and the man still thinks they just will go to work and come home and that's all they're supposed to do, then what is the incentive to be married? And you have this struggle of going on, and it's highly toxic, it's chaotic. The woman is overwhelmed, overstressed, she's yelling, she's screaming at the kids. It's not her fault, but she's overwhelmed, and the man has no empathy, no care, no attention, no special treatment. Even they can provide domestic labor in the home, can they assist to provide some money so they can hire help, so that woman can get a little break at least a couple times a week, can take a break from cooking, maybe order in once or twice a week. Is that too much to ask? To have pizza night on Friday, I still have to jump in the kitchen and cook a whole meal, a whole jollof, like if you're part of my country, cooking jollof is a whole prep. Going to the African market, if you are in America or other parts of the world, well, not America, not Africa, you not only go into the regular store like Stop and Shop or whatever, Costco, but you still have to travel to an African market and get all the groceries there too. That's a lot of work. Sometimes you're tired on Friday or the evening, bringing the kids along because the man is not available. You don't have enough money to pay for a babysitter. You have to work all the way till 5. The daycare is closed. You have to pick up your kids, and now you're running to Stop and Shop, going to Costco, going to Big BJ's, go to Big Y. Then you're going to the African market. If the kids are yelling, you're stressed. And this is a constant thing that you have to do every week. Some of these women have to cook for the week, so they don't have to bother cooking for the week because they have to go to work and do all the work. And at the same time, at least that man is giving you love and kindness and attention and love.
People always say, stay for the kids. I'm not introducing my child to this kind of toxic love. I want to break the karmic cycle. I want to break the generational cycle. You want me to sit and do the same mistake all over again that everyone has been doing? Nope. My son needs to see healthy relationships, healthy kind of love. 100%. So I don't stay for the kids. I don't care. You don't even have to financially be part of my life when it comes to the kid. I will take everything and deal with it on my own. I just don't want my child next to anybody that's toxic. No, I will not stay for the kids.
I totally agree with that. And I think most people that say they'll stay for the kids is a cover up for them being afraid to leave.
Yeah.
Because if your child is your highest intention, like to protect your child, True. You'll protect them from toxicity. You'll protect them from learning what a bad relationship looks like. And it doesn't necessarily need to be abusive. Yeah. Even if it's neglect, that's exposing your child to what relationships look like. If you're sleeping in separate bedrooms, and your child wakes up every day to say, okay, so this is what love looks like. Yeah. Guess who your daughter is going to date when she's 25 years old? She's going to date your husband. Father, she's going to feel neglected. She's going to pick someone who doesn't show love and affection and attention. Yeah.
That's my take on it. The children always in toxic relationships. That's so true. I've seen it every single day. The children end up dating their parents. And when they meet people that are toxic, it reminds them of their parents. That's home. Familiar. That's love for me. That's familiar to me. So they will go to that. You are literally destroying your child's.
Sometimes when you have parents that stay together for the kids, it can bring children this immense sense of guilt that even though you know might not be logical, emotionally it's still there. And the guilt can be about your parents' unhappiness, what their life would have been like if they had gotten separated or gotten divorced. And I think it's important for upcoming generations to know that staying together for the kids doesn't help the kids.
Like a monkey that swings from one branch to the next without letting go of the previous branch. Covert narcs love doing that. At least my ex did. Love swinging from one relationship to another while still in a committed relationship. It's fascinating, but it's disturbing to know how they can easily do this. During the monkey branching, you may find that your partner gets very distant. Constantly on the phone, talking or texting wee hours of the night, you'll wake up and surprisingly they're on their phone texting someone, but they'll say that they couldn't sleep, so they were on YouTube. More than likely, they're liking every other picture, if not every picture of someone on social. They also decline intimacy during this time. They'll constantly mention someone in a natural way, something that will be unsuspecting. There was a time where I used to call him out on it, but closer to the last 3 years of our relationship, I saw it and ignored it. I laughed about it. Somehow it was like secretly I wanted him to move on. I was like, swing from the branch already. It also helped to be a little numb when he finally swung off the branch. But as you know, we can't stay numb forever. In the healing journey, it hurts, it's hard, it's long. So make sure you heal properly.
If they monkey branched away from you, if and when they get on that comeback trail, they're going to try to monkey branch back to you. You're going to find yourself in a third-party situation. You are. Because this is their pattern now. They're not going to take time in between, figure themselves out. They're going to want to come back. They're going to want that guarantee so they don't have to sit alone. What do you do with that? I don't know.
Women get into committed relationships. Men don't. You will see him living his best life. The only thing is you know nothing about it. You have no idea that he's texting other women, that he's seeing other women. That is the biggest trick a guy can play on you. Oh yeah, Liz, it is a committed relationship. Men usually have secret lives that no one knows nothing about. You know those business trips, going out with the guys, playing golf, working late. They settle for naive women. Women who believe in love and illusions and fantasy. A good woman who is going to cook for them. A good woman who is going to clean and keep the house. A woman that is going nowhere because she's so faithful to her man. They settle for that. But they go into the world looking for the other one. They settle for a woman that is going to be there for them. When the hot one, when the woman that they really want rejects them, guess who's going to be there for them? You should also be living your life. Yeah, we all want partnership. But don't stop living your life and holding your breath for your man. And the more you're trying to control your partner, thinking that you can have any control at all, they make you believe that you may have any control, but you have zero control. You can be checking his phone. You can be like checking his location. Like you will become so obsessed about what he's doing and you stop living your life. Why don't you take him off the pedestal and put yourself there as a priority? Put yourself there on the pedestal and start worshiping a goddess instead of a male god. Go into the world. Maybe date someone. No one has to know. Like, they do it all the time. And you know, that makes it so unfair that you are home thinking that he's being faithful when he is just living his best life. And you can also do the same, right? You can go for the hot one, for the hot guy with a six-pack, with a really cute car, and and when he breaks your heart, you can run to your partner, you know, the good for nothing. You can go and be like, oh, you know, like, yeah, he doesn't have to know what happened, but, you know, that's living your life, traveling, doing something else besides obsessing what a man is doing.
Think about the fact that a lot of people don't realize until it's too late that when you are dating or in a relationship and you have children, how important it is sometimes for them to see you leave. And I know a lot of people are just so busy kind of dealing with their hurt and their pain of what's currently going on that the children's emotions sometimes are an afterthought. But baby, you are literally on display teaching your children how to be treated and how to treat others in romantic relationships. And ladies, y'all can vouch for me, but when you date a man whose mom didn't leave, she was the woman that stayed, that man is so vicious towards women or treat women horribly because of what he witnessed. Instead of the onus being on the person who treated her horribly, he literally turns around and blames the mom just because she stayed. And a lot of times as women, we don't know how to properly navigate relationships or leave because we watched our mothers like stay. But I just want to say, like, I know that that's probably the most difficult decision. I can't tell you what I would do if I was in it, but sometimes I know it's hard, but your kids might need to see you leave, and it's okay to do so.
So insecure guys, avoidantly attached guys in particular, love having options. It is not uncommon for avoidant men to spring into a new relationship or situationship right after their current relationship ends. This is called monkey branching. Monkey branching meaning that you swing from one branch to another branch and you only let go of the previous branch until you have the new branch in hand. And men and women can engage in this practice. But the interesting thing about an avoidant guy is that he'll tell you how hyper independent he is and how he doesn't have to rely on anyone. Yet, if your ex monkey branched to a new relationship right after your relationship with him ended, his behavior is completely contradicting what he told you, because in reality, he despises being alone with his thoughts so much that he's compulsively using someone else to distract himself from his own painful thoughts and feelings, which again is a hallmark of being an avoidant person. It's totally normal for a certain amount of time to rehash certain situations that came up in your past relationship and to imagine what different outcomes might have looked like. But when you spend your time post-breakup hanging out with friends and loved ones and investing in yourself and becoming a better person, you essentially guarantee that on a long enough timeline, you're going to end up with a healthy, compatible partner in the long term. Whereas if your avoidant ex is not seeking help for his deep attachment wounds and instead he's just distracting himself with superficial relationships, he's just going to perpetuate that cycle for himself, which is sad, but that's not your journey anymore. And all you can do is just wish him the best and concentrate on yourself.
Statistics on remarriage after divorce show that nearly 64% of men tend to remarry anywhere from 1 to 3 years after the divorce. This is a lot faster than most women. And the reason as to why men move on so quickly, is it because they're finding love in another partner, they're looking for love in another partner, or are there other reasons as to why men tend to move on after a divorce and after a breakup so fast? Is a man truly trying to find love, or is he simply trying to find someone who will clean the house, wash his clothes, cook for him, and put out sexually? Somebody who he can come home to and not be alone. While I'm sure that there are men who seek genuine love after a divorce, I know that there are. At the same time, there are men who are not seeking genuine love, and what they're really seeking is a partner to provide domestic labor for them. They're used to this system of coming home and the house being clean, there being food on the table, their laundry being neat, folded, and dried up, and they're used to having that person when they get home. And when they don't have this system going on in their life, now they don't know what to do because the system ain't there. Now, this is not the case for every single man, but this is the case for a lot of men, because a lot of men do not feel valuable or worthy if they don't have a woman by their side. They feel like they need a woman by their side to confirm their masculinity and their identity as a man. Let's be honest, man gets spoiled by having the convenience of a wife in their life. Then all of a sudden, when they go through divorce, that wife is no longer there. So they rush it down to another situation to lock somebody down in their life to where it can be a lot more comfortable for them. Look, I have a few uncles who, when my aunts divorced them and left them, they could not stand their own solitude. They could not stand it to be on their own. They had to have someone by their side. And that's because in a lot of cases, some men simply do not know how to deal with their emotions. So they can't sit down to sit in their own skin and just confront their emotions because they were never taught, nor did they ever have the desire to want to learn how to deal with their emotions. These kind of men that can't be on their own after a divorce or after a breakup can't deal with their emotions. They don't know how because they've never bothered to learn how to deal with them. So what do? They find somebody else to deal with their emotions instead of learning how to regulate their own emotions on their own. They would rather be with anyone, instead of dealing with their own thoughts, dealing with their own emotions, and having to face that silence of their solitude. That is exactly why a lot of men will rush into a relationship. They'll rush into another marriage because they want to fill these voids that they didn't have to worry about filling while they were in the marriage or in the relationship with that woman. Now that they're not with her anymore, they have to figure out how to fill those voids in, and they don't want to fill them in. So what do? They look for somebody else to fill them in for them.
Next time you're thinking of staying together for the kids, think again. Many people believe that staying together in a toxic relationship will benefit the children. But in the long run, children will perceive these relationships and it will affect them in their own relationships and then later in life. This is going to affect the way they view marriage in the future. It's better for them to see their parents in healthy relationships or not in toxic relationships at all. Staying together for the children will not benefit the children.